now. Wake up. You see that two sound there? Right now.
Why tell it's in the glass house? You don't trust us.
But tell her that alone. Hold on. Me now waste the time. Hear me.
If you wanna live,
Let me tell you.
treat me good. Some boy, if you wanna live,
Yes, please.
if you wanna live,
Robert up Thursday.
treat me good.
I tell you then the
Some
same.
boy, if you wanna live, you better treat ruthless savage good.
That's why tonight.
Ruthless savage at the stepping ways. I don't you watch this size is dangerous. Dangerous.
Can I tell you again, people?
So don't you watch
You have some people stand up and just watch your business. Tell them what them want, cause why?
I say believe ruthless savage is
Robert up Thursday.
you.
Put up here and put up your lighter.
Believe my judgment.
Robert up machine. What is that?
Ruthless all along.
Right now.
If your face is a minor, listen to the name of the song. It speaks for itself.
We watch all the time, bro.
Savage, saying, Badger, Taj, Admiral Tibet, unless shutting up, a bad man thing this.
I say believe you let savage business and when you own. I say believe my job business. I'm say leave you less all alone. If your face is a minor, leave you less all alone.
Can I tell you?
If your face is a minor, you in my face like a rolling stone.
I'm gonna promote up Thursday. I don't know promote the time all the time going up. I work in hours, you understand? So people, if you're still outside, I don't know in there, Robert up machine, room there's some international today. I'm here to tell us a check-in, you know?
I don't know Johnny's gonna dance out Godfather again.
Let me play some Robert up here now.
Too. I got man like Taj Sid, Badger, Damien.
Right now, Robert up Thursday, I'm telling you check-in, you
I
understand?
don't know. The whole Antigua, All Saints, Bolans, Johnny's gonna dance out Godfather. Line up people. People, how you ready? Line up.
Dance on Thursday, you know?
3, 2. Yeah. Ruthless savage. Some guy try and they die. Hear this.
Yo!
The line up, come in and the dance, it is a roadblock. A ruthless savage do that. You line up, come in and the dance, it is a roadblock. A ruthless savage do that. From the east to the west, ruthless savage and the
Well, listen one more.
to the south, ruthless savage knock them out. It's
I see my last one.
my friend.
We're gonna play the one for the elders there. But me respect my elders them. That's why the pro for come and dance on Thursday. So I can play the one for the elders them now. Robert up Thursday. Wake up. What is that?
Well, people say, if you test ruthless savage, you will get your
Sure.
We've got a very special guest joining us. A खास मेहमान है. My special guest is Salah Ahmed Jama. He is the Deputy Prime Minister of the Federal Government of Somalia. Appreciate you joining us, Mr. Jama. Good to have you here on India Today. I want to start by asking you, Donald Trump has launched an unprecedented attack on several countries, including your country of Somalia, suggesting Somalia is not even a country. They don't even have anything that resembles a country, saying you are a country of people, just immigrants, pirates with no intellectual capabilities. How do you respond, Mr. Jama, to Mr. Trump's stinging attack on the people of Somalia?
चीफ सरदेसाई साहब, हमें तो बहुत खुशी होती है कि आपने हमें ये मौका दिया है कि इंडिया टुडे में हम एक मेहमान बन गए आज, और इस मौके में हम बात करना चाहेंगे पूरे हिंदुस्तान से। हिंदी में बात करेंगे।
अरे वाह, आपकी हिंदी बहुत अच्छी है।
हमारा देश और इंडिया के बहुत ही पुराने संबंध हैं। हम दो पड़ोस भी हैं और बहुत ही हिस्टोरिकल तारीखी रिलेशनशिप है हम दोनों।
तो आपने हिंदी कहाँ सीखी?
हिंदुस्तान में ही।
आपने हिंदुस्तान में कहाँ पढ़े आप?
हम पुणे में रहे, महाराष्ट्र में, हैदराबाद में रहे, आंध्र प्रदेश में, अब तो बदल गया है, तेलंगाना और ये हो गया, और दिल्ली में भी रहे। हमारे जिंदगी के सबसे बेहतरीन दिन हमने गुजारा है इंडिया में।
Wow, the Deputy Prime Minister of Somalia is speaking perfect Hindi. आपको फिर जवाब देना है, डोनाल्ड ट्रंप को हिंदी में देना है, अंग्रेजी में? डोनाल्ड ट्रंप, as I said, says Somalia is a country that does not even resemble a country. क्या कहेंगे आप?
हम सब दो बोलते रहते हैं पूरी दुनिया के बारे में, हम अपने कहानी सुनाएंगे आपको।
जी।
आपने कहा है कि वो पूछते हैं, वो बोलते हैं कि सोमाली लोगों के IQ बहुत कम है
जी।
आप अपने इंडियन प्रोफेसर से पूछ ले जो सोमाली लोगों को बढ़ाते हैं इंडिया में, कितने स्मार्ट है सोमाली लोग. In fact, my president studied in India. I myself studied in India. And I think we have a very deep educational relationship with India. So maybe Indians would know better how smart and capable the Somali people are. And in fact, the Somali state went through difficult times in the early 90s. But in today's world, Somalia is a very viable state with great potential and prosperity, despite enormous challenges. And we look forward, we come here to this forum to forge relationships with key global players, including India.
एक मुझे बताइए, आप इतने साल इंडिया में रहे, इंडिया की सबसे अच्छी चीज आपको क्या लगी? What is the best thing about India? सबसे अच्छी चीज क्या लगी?
India's very vast culture. बहुत ही
हमारी संस्कृति,
आपकी संस्कृति, आपकी डाइवर्सिटी, आपकी बहुत ही जो दिन मैंने इंडिया में गुजारा है, मुझे कभी महसूस नहीं हुआ कि मैं एक अपने देश में नहीं रह रहा हूँ.
और खाना, आपका पसंदीदा खाना?
खाना तो बहुत इंडिया के
बेस्ट कौन सा? आपको कौन सा खाना पसंद है?
दाल मखानी.
दाल मखनी.
हाँ.
अरे वाह, the way to...
Independent journalist Nick Shirley teamed up with Minnesota whistleblower David Hoke to expose alleged fraud in the state.
Right here, state of Minnesota. Where are the kids? They got paid $1.26 million in fiscal year 2025. It says they have a capacity for 74 children.
When?
Where are the kids? Right here. What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids. It says you have 102 children here.
Independent journalist Nick Shirley teamed up with Minnesota whistleblower David Hoke to expose alleged fraud in the state.
Can you tell us what your response is to the Oversight Committee launching an investigation into your net worth, you and your husband's net worth? They're claiming that it's risen rapidly. What's your response to what they're saying?
Are you an African in the diaspora still doing multiple jobs, or you are undervalued and doing those jobs that are under your qualifications, and you think that the hope of meeting your dreams are no longer within reach? Then listen to this story.
Somalia hadan ku sawiro saakay iyo xalka sifta cadowga oo siiban baasaran madaxeene safka dheere geerida ayaan wadar sugaynaa saliibigan isbiirsaday kufrigan guudka naga saaran salka inaad ka gurtiyo qaxbay kugu sargoyeene inaad silac ku noolaatay wada sixiixeen qaxootigu sasaba weeye iyo siri iyo qorlaabe boholuhu saynsaabiyo wuxuu siriq maleegayo waysal dheer taho meel fog baa laga sanceeyaa ciidan siman inuu dib u saldhigo waa siduu rabaaye halkay sidigta mandeeq nirgaha kula socdaalaysay sayrankiyo halku daaqi jiray gorayga sawdeeya saqaafiyo ragbaasahan ku tegayo saldhiganaye adiguna saluglaatiyo mogan sirahaase Somalay hadma adkici ragbaasahaday ciidiye horuu cadowgu sablayday iyo seedka ii jaraaye horuu cadowgu sablayday iyo seedka ii jaraaye sixiixii barlin lagu galay igu surgoyeene saddex baa ay maqan waaxyihii ii sinaan jiraaye saniyuma tallaabsado markaan saydhi gacantiiye sinuu jiif ayaan ahay midaan socod awoodayne samriye maayo jerdon dhulkii dib u sixiixnaa soddon sano dalkeennan burburayee dulliigu saaqay sacaadiyo wanaagiyo dhulkan samaha loo diiday siqdaa dhexe gantaalaha dalkan laysku soo codsiiyo sawaariiq gumaadiyo dadkan hoobiyuhu saaqay rag baa taangi silis jiidan iyo cadowyo noo soore sawaariiq tijaaba markuu gaalku naagu saaqay oo colaad saldheer buu qabaye seefta naagu laayay siqiiriyo kabiiriyo hablaba uusan kala soocin soddon mayd sagaal dhaawaciyo sariihiyo daadsan iyo dhiig sunsumi laamiyada hilibkiyo saydhmay saqiiraabba waayo hooyana uu sibraha gooyey sabi dhicisa gabadh tuurtay oo uu wadnuhu saqmay saddex lugood le waa yeel sirqa oo socod baan haynin oo saablayda baskaga dhaca suuqa noo wadhan subxaanallaahi eebbo wadaa saacidaad badaane sidaan rabaana waad garan qalbiga waad la socotaaye naga samaata bixiyo nasiye samiya gulwaarta sabool gaajo awgeed hurdada seexan kari waayey saqdaa dhexe ilaah tuugayo aan sadnaba haysan iyo socod midaan karin gadaal si qasha mooyaane iyo dhaawac miduusan yadoy sabka kala goysay ummad wada sidaasaannahoo silac la tahayse salaamullaahi gulwacan ilaahayna wada siiyo
So I can get cover from just £155. That's got to be good.
أنا أقول هاشم أو دالي بن حسين أنا أقول جبرتي بهرتي سبحان الله لك لو وين وادي عرفان الله حبتي قصد بورتو الله سبحان الله.
This hotel hasn't welcomed any tourists in decades. Most of the guests are Somalian officials who fled their homes and sought refuge here with their families. Even the chief of police lives here. On the other side of the hotel, the security firm has installed cameras everywhere. The entire perimeter of the hotel can be monitored from these screens. And they can also keep tabs on the firm's armored vehicles thanks to GPS trackers. When there's a lack of official information on an attack, social media is used to get the latest news.
Here we have Twitter, which we can follow the latest news internationally and locally. Here we have Zakia Hussein, Deputy Police Commissioner, Somali Police Force. So she tweeted that a Toyota Noah VBID went off near security checkpoint at kilometer 4 junction. It's about 100 meters away from us here.
We got hold of this footage the same night. There were 12 fatalities and over 30 people injured. Located on the Horn of Africa, Somalia has been ravaged by civil war, piracy, Islamist terrorism, and famine since 1991. Over the past 30 years, there have been over 500,000 deaths. Over the past 30 years, there have been over 500,000 deaths. In 1992, French politician Bernard Kouchner came to Mogadiscio and gave out bags of rice donated by school children.
Absolument envoyer des médecins, du matériel. Ils n'ont pas de drap pour être enterrés. Ils n'ont pas de nourriture pour survivre.
Somalia has been under the control of the Al-Shabaab terrorist militant group since 2006. Their soldiers occupy almost 2/3 of the land and are threatening the city of Mogadishu. Since they infiltrated the capital, bombings have doubled. They are responsible for thousands of Somali deaths. Not only in Mogadishu, but also in Nairobi, where 68 people died in an attack on a mall in 2013. Every day, hundreds of police officers use every means necessary to protect Mogadishu from these terrorist attacks. We were given exclusive access to Mogadishu's central prison, where terrorists are about 50 to a cell. A new generation of politicians, including the mayor of Mogadishu, are risking their lives to try to restore law and order.
Abercrombie and Kent. Life well traveled.
diinkanagii waa lagu soo duulay waxaan wada ognahay dawlado badan oo Yurub oo Mareykan leh oo Ingiriis leh iyo kuwa Afrikaan oo Ugandays iyo Burundays iyo balaan la aqoonin leh intaba waxa loo keenay waxa weeyaan diintanada in la diriraan.
A graduation ceremony for around 200 Al-Shabaab fighters, the latest recruits for the militants that rule over 1/3 of Somalia. Their faces covered so they can operate anonymously. They are fighting to overthrow the internationally recognized government of Somalia.
dimuqraadiyaduna waa diin gaalo weeyaan maadaama ay diin gaalo tahay waxaa nagu waajib ah inaan awooddeena dhan isu geyno inaan ka hortagno diidno.
These soldiers will be sent on missions to carry out attacks against the Somali government, as well as African Union troops stationed here and in neighboring countries. They have undergone several months of intense training to become battle ready. They might not want to reveal their identities, but they do want to show their force. Uniforms, guns, vehicles, all spoils of war, stolen from their enemies, and of course, the essential mark for sweet tea. Notoriously suspicious, they rarely give access to outsiders. I'm the first journalist allowed to film them in years.
cid kasta oo dimuqraadiya wadatana waxaan Ilaahay subxaanahu wa ta'aala maanta u markhaati gashanaynaa inaan dhuunta ku dhufanayno.
Standing in front of them is Mahat Karate, his nickname, a nod to his extensive martial arts training. He was once a Somali government intelligence officer who is now one of Al-Shabaab's most senior leaders.
dad badan baa la dilaa oo Al-Shabaab disha sidee baad u justify gareyn kartaan dadka Soomaalida ah ee muslimka ah dilkooda idinkoo u dagaalamaya saarshayga islaamnimo
inagu cadow baan ishaynaa cidda cadow baan ishaynaa waa isdilaynaa mar haddaan isdilayno kolba aaladda la isku dilahay ayaa waxa ka dhalanaya in cid loogu talagalay ciidan loogu talagalin shabaab waxa ay ku midaysan yihiin oo go'aan u ah in cid kasta oo shariicadu ay dhigooda ka xarimtay inuu xaraam ka yahay gaali muslimid ku yahay arrinka ma u diyaar garownay.
In eastern Congo, M23 rebels have become rulers. Millions of people now live under their control. It's a war Donald Trump claims to have ended.
The Congo, we settled the Congo with Rwanda. That was a machete war. That was a gruesome war. Many people, close to 10 million people killed. We got that settled.
But M23 say their fight is far from over.
Celui qui veut nous faire la guerre, eh bien qu'il vienne nous enterrer ici chez nous.
And civilians continue to pay the price.
There was the Arabic writing. He could read it, but he could not understand it. Perhaps he would come here, but he would have to study hard and try. Perhaps it would be the will of Allah. This is Somalia. It is near what the early explorers called the Horn of Africa, where the Red Sea joins the Indian Ocean. It is an old country, with vast distances and little water. We are mostly nomads. We have no settled homes. We live on the grassy plains. We walk hundreds of miles looking for pasture for our camels and for wells where we can get water. They are the two most important things in our lives, camels and water. This is Ishmael. It is a Muslim name, for we are all believers in Allah the Compassionate. It is He who decides our fate, whether we find water and pasture or not, whether we live or die. It is His will.
Just seen your email.
Oh no.
The revolution brought radical changes also to the social life of the people. A rural development campaign based largely on student-teacher volunteers and backed by the slogan, "If you know, teach; if you don't know, learn," was one of its major achievements. Never before had city and country dwellers made contact in such a way. This unprecedented drive against illiteracy bridged the social gap of centuries, bringing mutual understanding and a sense of common purpose to the far-flung peoples of the nation. The Rural Development Campaign had a second purpose besides, the teaching of health and basic hygiene. Nothing remotely like it had ever been tried before. For the first time in their history, the Somali peoples were brought together as a whole, not as rival clans or factions, but as a nation, eager, from these small beginnings with the reading and writing of their mother tongue, to grow and prosper for the common good. Doctors and teachers together, no matter how remote the community they visited nor how poor communications, scoured the Somali countryside to carry out their missions of enlightenment. For the campaign, the entire nation was mobilized. Its every resource, both human and material, were drawn upon. At the end of the first 6-month phase, its supporters and the nation's leaders turned out to greet the returning students who had played so large a part in its obvious success. It was time to acknowledge that this was also the first time the nation had benefited from the collective energy of its young people, of its students, who would be among its leaders tomorrow. And in thanksgiving for this fact, great festivals of youth were held throughout the country. In Mogadishu, President Siad himself attended these festivals, presenting medals and scrolls to all who had distinguished themselves over the grueling half-year. With the campaign, the Somali people had reached a peak of national unity. Its benefits seen, progressive forces throughout the country stood ready to defend the gains of the revolution. Students now, with teachers, youth groups, doctors, farmers, engineers, and the armed forces themselves, were all united in their resolve to carry the nation further still. Now publicly accepted as active participants in their country's struggle, the nation's youth celebrated with colourful displays of their achievements and their future hopes.
Children as young as 8 take part in the fierce and bitter fighting that continues as the powerful clans now battle each other for supremacy. Mogadishu, a once beautiful city split by a front line dividing disputed clan territories. Armies of the warring factional leaders patrol here, along what is more locally known as the Green Line, a corridor of former homes and schools with grisly reminders of past skirmishes. Forced out of their homes by devastation and starvation, many Somali people have fled to makeshift refugee camps. The harsh reality is that with no ceasefire in sight, aid agencies are unlikely to intervene and conditions are likely to worsen. On almost every street, burnt-out tanks now provide million-dollar playgrounds, a poignant reminder of the failed US-led United Nations mission, Operation Restore Hope. Among those American forces was a young Marine, Hussein Adid. In what is a unique twist, he has now returned to Mogadishu as the successor to his late father, General Farah Adid, a staunch foe of the Americans. The late general was the self-elected president and leader of one of the more powerful factions. He died from injuries he received from fighting last week. The new president of the Republic of Somalia has announced the continuation of his father's policy of pacification. Disarming is part of this policy, and these soldiers are keen to do their job well. We're doing a good job. We are disarming the bandits. It's a big job. Killing those who disagree is also part of the policy. We have the authority. If we are ordered, we shoot. If we don't, we won't. We have the permission to kill. Back at the front line, battle-weary fighters hardly flinch as shots ring out. Others are more tense. Hopes of a ceasefire have been dashed by Hussein Adid's adherence to his late father's policies. Ali Mahdi, the North Mogadishu leader, saw pacification as a barrier to Somali reconciliation.
We were negotiating with him for 5 years, and he never accepted what is the desire of the people. He never accepted. He is the man who wants only to have the power through the barrel of the gun.
In agreement is faction leader Osman Atu, travelling here in protected convoy. He parted from the late General Adid's clan and left his post as finance minister last year.
The reason we do have this split is Adid want to take Somalia, conquer Somalia by force. And that is creating another dictator.
The government's response to such condemnation by one of its own was to avoid it.
This is a family affair. We don't represent family affairs. I don't think it concerns the government.
A sense of normality pervades this market. The goat sellers are finding the trade sluggish. The only real economic activity is that of the cat trade. Cat, an amphetamine-like drug, perishes quickly in the heat, so each morning it is flown in from Kenya. We like cat. It gets rid of fatigue and staves off nightmares. It also makes the work easier. It doesn't do you much good though. Cat may relieve the tedium of war and create trigger-happy fighters, but these young men are deadly serious in their struggle. I believe I will die when Allah my God decides. Is it where people need me to defend them? I have no right to be afraid of dying. Hussein Adid inherits a loyal army that his late father, General Adid, forged from warring militias, freelancers, and the former National Army. They are paid to carry a gun and put aside clan differences. We understand the badness of the clans. Now, we are united as a national force. These rival faction fighters have no uniforms. They paint their technical, gaudy colours and possess a certain bravado, but no one doubts their commitment. These technicals are cannibalised aid vehicles with a machine gun or anti-aircraft gun mounted in the rear. As survivors of numerous battles, many young fighters believe the secret of their success lies in their willingness to die. It doesn't matter if I die, because when I'm dying, I am defending myself and my leader. So if I die, no problem. Bermuda, a small enclave in the heart of Mogadishu, has turned to Islam in its search for a peaceful solution. Former wild militiamen are now running their technicals under the banner of Islam, the newly established Islamic port. As protectors, they bring order to the people. It's amazing. Before, they were robbers breaking into Muslim homes. Now they're normal people who believe in the Quran. Elman, a peace campaigner, sought a different solution to the peace problem.
We want to make revolution with the sports, because no one can stop the sports.
Elman took young fighters under his wing, and by teaching them football, reformed them.
Last 5 years, we are seeing only the clan leaders. They get a lot of opportunity. The clan leaders and the warlords, the gunman. But today, we are celebrating. We have no gun.
In Mogadishu's highly volatile and unstable conflict, there is no place for such celebrations. Last month, Elman was killed. Osman Arto and Ali Mahdi see reconciliation and negotiation as the only way forward to a peaceful end to the conflict.
Most of the clans, of most of the Somali people, are one side, and for reconciliation conference, and they are for having a central authority.
Our intention is to reach ultimately the goal of the Somali nation peacefully. But I am sure what we are trying to do now is to create Somali nation, and to create Somali nation we need a multi-clan forces, militias, to get together, and that symbolizes and the start of the Somali nation.
waa maal maskax lagu dadaaliyo ilaan garasho waa maal muruq lagu shaqeeyo ileen quruxi waa maal murtiyey maguuraan taariikh la soo maray sheekaa micnayse xamar waa madhaafaan waana lagama maarmaan malkii dalkeen iyo kartidii midnimadan labadaba ku miisno marsadiyo baddeediyo hawdka isku muuqdo xamar waa madhaafaan murtiyey maguura taariikh la soo maray sheekaa micnayse xamar waa madhaafaan waana lagama maarmaan malkii dalkeen iyo kartidii midnimadan labadaba ku miisno marsadiyo baddeediyo hawdka isku muuqdo xamar waa madhaafaan مقدشو ويا صمري يا ذامعنا يسو سنكيب موجدو بقول المشروع نفط محب قليوي مدن تاسما اسمه ويا صمري دامعنيسو سندكيبا موجدو بقول المشروع نفط محب قليوي مدن تاسما اسمه قلب عمال مدوو والحونا مكتيبي بدا الشام مديدد هورنا لوغو مريا ويادا مقالة قروح بامديسو وليبا وادا مسيسي قلب عمال مدوو والحونا مكتيبي بدا الشام مديدد هورنا لوغو مريا ويادا مقالة قروح بامديسو وليبا وادا مسيسي مقدشو